What is going on, you guys? We are back out here, and today I thought it would be interesting to do a Sony a7 III versus my iPhone 8 video. So I always think it's kind of interesting, you know, people post photos and they always sort of like list their gear, but I always think it's kind of like interesting. Like I'm not really into iPhone photography, I have to admit, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting just to do a bit of comparison video, and I'll get Rob later on to do a bit of judging to see if he can maybe figure out which one's which. But otherwise, yeah, let's just jump into the video. Okay, so my plan for this one is kind of go around and shoot a few different subject matter. So I'll probably shoot a few different bits and pieces. I might do one of each, do one on my iPhone, one on camera, and then, you know, maybe we can try and trick Rob into thinking it's a phone pic when it's actually a camera pic. But yeah, let's just go. So my first stop here is this here flower bed. So I think I'll start off by trying. So I think I'll shoot it on 2.8. And then I think I'll also, I'm trying to match it to the iPhone to try and like make it as similar as possible, but I think as I probably get a bit more into it, I'll try and change it up a little bit. Fine. I am shooting on the 24-70, so it's not a macro lens, but I guess that's what it's all about, right? I'm actually shooting this little flower bed, or this little flower over here. So some of those other flowers to frame it. And so we're trying to do this other one. In the middle there, just over here, and then we'll also shoot some of this lavender, I think it is. Yeah, so that little flower's looking nice and in focus on my back screen here, but it's not really blooming too much, to be honest. So I might jump on over to the iPhone, see if we can take some shots. Put it on portrait mode as well. Let's try and get the bokeh. Best shot possible. Stage light. So we're just going portrait mode. I'll shoot some of these ones as you move away from the subject, which is kind of a bit weird, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm happy with those ones. So let's move on to the next subject. So for my next test, I've come to this park here. So I'm going to do a bit of a landscape shot, just super basic, nothing too fancy. Might shoot on like f5.6, see how we go. Yeah, and then I'll do the same with the iPhone, take a different shot and just, yeah, repeat it. Again, nothing too incredible, nothing too crazy, just super simple. a landscape kind of shot, and then I'll do the same with the phone as well. So I'll do the phone, and again this is all through the phone app. I'm not doing anything particularly amazing. One I may try in the portrait mode, maybe do portrait mode, a little bit cropped, but that's okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so I've just come to this bridge here, and I just want to shoot one of those kind of live images on my phone, and turn it into like a long exposure. So I'm going to try a few of those here. I don't know how it's going to turn out because it is the middle of the day. It's quite warm as well. But yeah, let's try it, and then I'll also take some shots with my other camera as well. So maybe take some of this big building behind me, and yeah, hopefully we can kind of compare and maybe see if there's a difference between the phone and the camera. So let's get into it. So I have my phone set up on the little tripod with a little phone holder as well. So let's take some of these long exposures. Alright, so I'm going to take one photo to start off with, basic one. And then actually I think from that one we can just go in here. That's the problem. Always good to have a live one, isn't it? So let's see. Photo, a few of them. So again. Here you go, long exposure. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. And it can also be bounced as well. Make it like a GIF. And then you can also loop it as well. It's a little bit skew, isn't it? Yeah, that should be right. So take another one. Try that one with a few moving cars. That one like exposure. Let's put a shot. So you can see the cars sort of start to fade away there, which is kind of cool. Don't know how they do that, but kind of cool nonetheless. Alrighty, and since we're here, may as well take some shots of this one as well. Yeah, cool. So I'm pretty happy with those ones. I think they turned out well. Yeah, so now I'm going to take some on my camera. So now let's jump back to the computer and we'll start to put these through Lightroom and hopefully see what Rob says. Let's go. Alright, so welcome back you guys. I am here with my special guest, Rob.
G'day guys, how you doing?
So we have Rob in, and so you guys obviously saw me shoot the shots. So now we're just going to go through them on my laptop here and see if Rob can guess which one was shot on my iPhone 8 Plus or which one was shot on my Sony camera. So it'll be interesting to see whether Rob will be actually able to tell the difference, since obviously if you watch our previous videos, he obviously shoots with me a fair bit, or I shoot with him a fair bit. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can pick sort of the difference between the Sony, and I'm trying to make them look relatively similar, but also with a few key differences as well. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can pick the differences, and I'll have the full screen, and I'll have them in the video as well with you guys. But yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so the first shot is a shot of the park. So I'll make it full screen for you, Rob. Okay. So this is number one, and then yeah, you can zoom in.
Cool. Alright, this one looks a bit overexposed. It looks like it's attempted to give you pretty good exposure, but it really hasn't maintained that in the highlights. And when you zoom in, it kind of looks a bit wishy-washy in some of the detailed areas. I'm probably going to say this might be the phone.
Do you want to have a look at the other picture?
Yeah, I'll have a look at the other picture.
Let's have a look at the other picture. Let's have a look at this one.
I think the dynamic range in this one.
I've also cropped this one as well, so that one's.
Okay.
It's not a format ratio. It's just I've cropped it. I thought it looked
Cool.
better. That's all.
So this one looks. The dynamic range looks better. However, this is really difficult.
So obviously I've just cut off the sides there. So it's not like.
Alright, so I reckon this one, even though it's pretty hard actually, I actually think the first one looks like it's held the detail a little bit better. So I would probably say the first one was just Sony, and the second image is actually the mobile phone.
Oh, you sure?
Look, the dynamic range on this one looks much better, but I'm not sure if you've overexposed it on purpose to try to throw me off. But I would say just the way the details look, I don't know, it kind of looks like it gets really murky in some of these parts. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to lock one in. So I'm going to lock in the first one. I think is the camera, the Sony, and I think the second one is the iPhone.
You are correct. Well done. Correct. Yeah. That is correct. Yeah. So the first one is the Sony, and the second one is the iPhone. So
yeah, it's actually just the dynamic range in the first one. I mean, when you see the photo, I'm sure the guys can see it already. The clouds look like they're really blown out.
Yeah.
But in the second one, the dynamic range looks better. Like the photo looks more exposed correctly. But the details fall over really, really quickly when you zoom in, and it kind of looks like the grass looks like it's almost like a painting when you start zooming in a bit more.
Yeah, that was kind of one thing that I found was that they kind of have their differences, but like if you look at it as a whole, it looks very, very similar, right?
Yeah, it's very similar. Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so we have a picture of a flower here. So I'll let you have a look at that one. So it's just looking through the flower.
So the details are pretty good. Like when you zoom in, they hold the detail really, really well. Yeah. Especially like you can see the detail on the actual flower, little stemmy bits in the middle of the flower, and even in the stems behind it where the bokeh's kicked in. So that's pretty interesting. Yep. What's the number 2 photo?
Have a look at the second one.
Okay, so yeah, the exposure probably is not too bad. Okay, so I reckon 1 is the Sony, 2 is the phone. The details in this one look a bit wishy-washy again.
What do you think about the bokeh though? Because obviously, like they're very, very similar in the bokeh in the background over here.
Yeah, can I see the first one again?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got like the bokeh happening over here.
Yeah, I'm actually the bokeh is really nice behind it in both images, but I think the bokeh in the first one looks a bit more natural to me. I think the first one's a bit higher key as well. I think maybe it's a little bit over, but I actually really like how it turns out, and I think the details are really good. The other one I think is a little darker. The second one's a little darker, but I think the detail when you zoom in isn't quite as sharp.
Yeah. And
I think the bokeh, even though it's nice in parts, doesn't replicate, or doesn't. Well, I think it's not consistent across the image. Like you can kind of see it looks a bit patchy, like almost like it's digital.
Yeah.
Especially in the top part and stuff like that. So that's why I'm going second one iPhone, first one is the Sony. I could be wrong, but I hope I'm not.
You are 100% correct. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
First one was a Sony, indeed. Yeah.
It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. That's the thing, right?
Yeah. I can understand why when it's on Instagram and on socials and Facebook and stuff, where it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a nice iPhone, or especially when your iPhone's not the latest one, right?
No,
so
exactly.
If you had like an iPhone 13, 14, with the new cameras on it, I think it'd be really hard to tell on a computer screen unless you zoom in or print your images. I think it'd be becoming quite difficult to tell.
When I was editing these, I was like, man, these are really close. And it's only that when you zoom in a lot, and I think you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell this outside of Facebook and Instagram. So when you zoom in a lot and you kind of look at it in finer details, and when that sort of detail starts to fall away a bit more.
Yeah, like I know one's on the phone and one's on the Sony, so it makes it easy. I'm looking for things that I think would give it away. Where if I was looking at these on social media, I'd be flicking through and I'd be like, oh, that's a nice shot, like kind of thing, rather than actually delving into the photo a bit.
Yeah. And I think like that was one of the other things I was also considering. I was like, maybe we should do it in an Instagram way. Let us know if you want to see that next time. But maybe we should do it like an Instagram way where you're literally just looking on your phone and see if maybe that would make a difference. Because obviously you're like 9 times out of 10 looking at these images on your phone rather than on a bigger screen or a laptop, for example.
I have to admit, I think if you're looking at it on your phone, I think you'd be really hard pressed to kind of pick them.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Let's move on to number 3. So we got this picture of this rosemary here. I think it's rosemary. Oh, lavender, sorry. I think it's lavender. Have a look.
Yeah, the bokeh's really nice. Really swirly bokeh on this one.
Yeah.
Really good detail though. Really nice detail. Yeah, awesome detail, nice bokeh. It's really swirly actually.
Yeah. Do you think that's digital or do you think that's like with the lens? Like if you can look at it, it is kind of like a bit unique like that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it looks. I don't know. It's starting to get a bit too much when you zoom out and look at the buildings behind it.
Yeah.
Like it's really kind of getting wavy there, especially on the sides. Yeah, I'm impressed. If this is the phone one, I'd be impressed with the amount of detail in the lavender or rosemary, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It could be digital, but I'd be inclined. It's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very circular and stuff like that. So it'd be very. Yeah, I possibly did be digital, especially in this this bit down here, which was really, really twirly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does make you think it's probably been enhanced digitally.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Alright, cool. Let's have a look at the next one.
A lot darker straight off the bat.
Yeah.
It does look like there's still a good amount of detail in there.
Yeah. What do you think about the bokeh there? Obviously, like, it's a bit kind of different to what it was in previous images, and obviously you have a bit more focus in the main tree.
Yeah.
The main part of the flower.
Yeah. Yeah, the bokeh looks. Yeah, this looks more digital than the last one, I feel, personally. Yeah. It looks blotchy. I mean, it looks like there's been a bit of sharpening applied to this image as well.
Yeah.
Maybe contrast and stuff applied to it.
Yeah. What do you think about the rounder bokeh? Because this one obviously has more round sort of bokeh balls than the other one has more sort of.
Yeah, I think the other one stands out a bit more. I think this one makes it look a bit. Yeah, the way the bokeh in this one looks artificial to me. It looks a bit more. It looks a bit busier and messy. I don't think it has that. Yeah, it doesn't look. This one doesn't look natural at all to me.
Yeah. Why is that? It's just a sharpening on it, or?
I think it might be the sharpening on it, or the extra contrast is put into there, trying to create that separation from the background a bit.
Right.
But yeah, I find this one a little bit unnatural, personally.
Okay.
This looks a bit messier.
So what's your final answer on that one?
I'm impressed with the detail on the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know, I could go either way again on these two. I think these are really difficult to tell. I'm going to go the first one is the Sony and the second one is the iPhone.
Oh, he's good. He's good. That is correct. Well done. Well done. Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. The fourth and final one, I think. So we have the picture of these two buildings here.
Okay. This is interesting. Okay, I think okay, there's some nice detail in there. It gets a little bit wavy on the side, almost like digital zoom does.
Yeah.
However, even with cameras with telephoto lenses, that could be heat haze as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was one day when I took this photo.
Yeah.
Like, I just saw, like you guys just saw, like I was sweating.
So I am zooming in, and you know, with telephoto lenses in particular, hot day over a big distance, I reckon you would get some sort of heat haze there.
I remember as well, I'm shooting from the ground.
Yeah,
so
that's
like I'm even like on top of I'm not even like on top of another building. I'm literally on the ground.
Yeah. So there's a few things in this photo. I think the details fall over a little bit. You can see some grain around this in the shadowy areas. Okay. It's interesting though.
You want to have a look at the second one?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's bring it up.
Cool. Okay, let's zoom in on this one a bit. Cool. So I think you've lost that heat haze in this. It's got a lot more detail in the shadowy area, and I mean the highlights are blown out on the side of the building there, but it's not too bad. I actually really like the brightness in the sky on this one a bit better than the last one, but I think this one overall maintains its detail in the shadow a lot better. I would say first one would be the iPhone, and the second one would be the Sony. However, if you look at the first one again, I'm actually really impressed with how the iPhone handled the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm right. But I think the first one is the iPhone. I think the second one is the Sony.
That is 4 for 4. Well done. Well
Beautiful,
done.
that's good. Lucky.
Okay. So I have one final image, 50-50, okay? I don't have a comparison image.
No comparison. Alright,
No
cool.
comparison, okay?
Let's see if I can pick it.
So final image. I've cropped it again. Just made it a bit tighter. And then I've made it a bit more pumpier. So hopefully maybe see if I can throw you off the scent.
Okay, cool. So, a few things I noticed about this image straight away from without having to zoom in. It has got some movement in it.
Yeah, that was my whole point, right?
Yeah, so I think that is an interesting element to capture. I think that can be really difficult with an iPhone to capture.
Yeah.
Without using a specialized app, so or like one of those manual apps.
Yeah.
So that is interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing. Right?
Zooming in, let's have a zoom. Now I'm mindful that you have pumped up some settings, so I would expect a bit of fallover. Okay, so zooming in, it does look like the detail of like the sign area and the lights, even though it looks sharp from a distance, when you zoom in, you can't really read the road. I don't know what it says.
Do keep in mind that this was handheld as well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even using a tripod.
It was handheld.
That's
Okay.
probably why it's a little bit blurry.
Okay, so there's a little bit of movement in there then. Well, this is a really hard one. It is really difficult because I think that element of the movement makes it so. The fact I know now it's handheld makes it even harder, because what I rely on is really looking at the detail, which now that you've handheld it, that element of movement makes it really hard to pick. In saying that, I'm gonna go, this is the Sony. Bit of a guess really. I think what makes the Sony really, really good in this instance would be its stabilization and really trying to get those details. I think if you tried to shoot this on an iPhone, I think it'd be like, this is obviously really slow shutter speed. I think on an iPhone this would be even, you'd lose, the detail in here is not sharp. But I think what you see is the element of movement and like the adding of the movement opposed to the iPhone, which I think would do probably a slightly poorer job at this, dare I say. Yeah, so I'm locking in the Sony.
He's locking in the Sony.
Not confidently though.
Alright.
Not confident at all.
So do you want to do all or nothing for the Sony?
Yeah, I'd lock in the Sony still.
Looking at the Sony. Rob Palace, that was very, very close. But this was actually shot on the iPhone.
Really, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And so, like I showed you guys, I was actually done all in iPhone, no app. So yeah, that was actually one of the settings in it. So yeah, this is all in the iPhone.
That's pretty. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that.
That's pretty good, right?
It's actually handled it really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by that. I would have thought that was, you know, a handheld photo and the details being washed out because of the movement.
Yeah.
And the only problem I have is the sky is kind of doesn't reflect the movement in the cars down. I think
that's a crazy thing, right?
Yeah, because obviously there's a little bit of wind. Looks like the flag is a little bit bent. But
so it was only the cars that were moving, really.
Yeah.
And like and again, this is just through the settings in the iPhone. But I think actually it makes like the movement in the photo long exposure, but I don't think it sort of categorizes for that sky and also, like you said, the flags as well. Because if you were to do it on the Sony, then it would be like the flag would be like windy as well. Blurry as well, I should say.
So, like you said, there's really nice detail in this cloud section still. It looks pretty good. But when you come down to the trees and stuff and zoom in,
yeah, it really starts to fade away. Hey.
yeah,
Fall away, I
it's
should
like
say.
around this section here, and but the sign's really hard to make out. The top bit, for example, it's actually done a really good job there. The iPhone, I'm really
Pretty
impressed
clever,
with that. Yeah, very, very clever.
Yeah, that was a really interesting experiment, I thought.
Yeah, it's a really good experiment. I'm actually really impressed by this photo.
Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this little episode. Maybe next time we'll do a night one, maybe do a night version. Let us know if you want to see that in the comments below.
Yeah.
But otherwise, make sure to check out Rob on Instagram. Be sure to follow me for more content like this.
Awesome.
And with all that being said and done, we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Cheers. Bye-bye.